Today, I have the honor of sitting down with Attorney General Charity Clark, a lawyer, mother, volunteer, proud Vermonter, and first woman elected Attorney General of Vermont. In addition, Attorney General Clark is a dedicated community volunteer, a justice of the peace, chair of the board of her town library, and self-proclaimed tote bag enthusiast. She has made protecting Vermonters a trademark of her administration, and I cannot wait to learn what she's been up to since being elected. This is Vermont's Voice. Well, Attorney General Clark, thank you so much for being here today, and welcome to Vermont's Voice.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And I just want to say I fully appreciate how busy you've been lately after doing a little bit of background research. So just want to reiterate that, really appreciate that you're here when you could probably be in 100 different places in this moment. So.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to speak to Vermonters because it's important that they hear what's going on in my office, and I appreciate your invitation to come talk to you.
Awesome. Well, I think we should probably just get right into it then. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I learned that you became the Vermont Attorney General back in 2023, right? And I was absolutely shocked to learn that you were the first woman ever elected to this position. So I just want to say congrats for breaking the barrier there. Woman to woman, that's a huge deal.
Thank you.
Though again, so shocking, right?
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm curious to hear and what I think others might be interested to know is what it is an attorney general actually does, sort of broadly, and then also what it's like to serve here in Vermont.
Well, in essence, the attorney general is the lawyer to the state. So that can take a variety of looks. I mean, it could be that someone sued the state and my office defends. It could be that they're repaving a section on 89 and we have a contract with a paving contractor and my office might help review the contract, something like that. We also bring a lot of lawsuits. So, for example, if someone violates an environmental law, it might be my office who sues. If someone violates the Consumer Protection Act, we might sue. We also advise the legislature in addition to all these other roles. And of course, we have the Consumer Assistance Program, which helps consumers really and handles scam reports, helps them when they're in the role of consumer. And that, I think, is how most people interface with my office. We call it CAP. It's located at the University of Vermont. And I was just plugging CAP to some of your canvassers when I spoke with them.
Amazing.
Because if they go to the University of Vermont, they can take a class called Consumer Law in Action, and they can help out at CAP and learn a lot. It's kind of like an externship of sorts.
Wow.
So it's a very cool program, and we, thousands of people are contacting us every year. So we do wear a lot of hats. As for serving here in Vermont as Attorney General, well, I'm a Vermonter, born and raised, as are many generations of my family, and I absolutely love Vermont. It's kind of like, I always think of it in my story, it's kind of like a main character in the story is Vermont. So it is such a privilege to serve in Vermont. One of the things that I love about Vermont generally, but I really see it as AG, is everyone knows each other. Right. And so everywhere I go, I meet people that either know someone I know or I'm like related to them. They're my cousin or whatever. It's just been great. And the other thing is, as a statewide official, I serve the whole state. All of the voters are all over the state. All the kids that I'm a champion for are all over the state. So I get to go all over the state. And I love that. We have such a beautiful, beautiful state with so many charming towns and lakes and forests. And I just love it. It's such a privilege to be able to feel like this whole state is kind of the entity I'm serving. And it's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, you're really making this sound like quite an incredible job.
Yeah.
And I'm also right in that you've got to be so busy. I don't know how you do it all. But I imagine you're bopping around making friends, it sounds like, everywhere you go. And thank you for calling out your conversation with the canvas, because you've had 2 back-to-back VPERG days.
Yes.
Which is so cool and great for us and for all of the canvassers who are looking up to you.
Someone was there who had canvassed my house, and I answered the door, and he was just like, oh my gosh, you're the Attorney General. And I was like, why did I answer my garage door? It's so messy. I'm like, what am I even wearing?
Oh my gosh, That's so funny,
Yeah,
but I'm
it was
sure it was
great.
like the highlight of their day.
He was pretty excited.
That's so cool. Well, thanks for that background. I think that gives us like a little bit of clarity into what your day-to-day looks like, though I'm sure it probably changes. And I do just want to acknowledge that today is July 2nd. And so there's a bit of breaking news that I'd love for us to discuss briefly, because at this point in time, both the House and Senate have passed Trump's quote-unquote big beautiful bill. And so for us, this is legislation that we expect to be pretty much devastating. There are millions of Americans who will lose health insurance and food assistance, and the nation's debt will rise by an estimated $3.3 trillion. I'm sure this is not news to you, just sort of filling the gaps in for our listeners. Of course, though, corporations and billionaires will, get tax cuts. So there's that. And so right now this bill is going back to the House for final approval. So we are sort of running out of time here in terms of stopping this from becoming law. So I'm just curious if you have any comments or what your perspective is, just because this is such breaking news.
Yeah. Well, I would say this is garbage. It's appalling, the wastefulness, because let's be honest. I mean, we could say, oh, you're disregarding the health of your constituents, but in reality, this is a money shift. I'm sure that right now our friends in the appropriations committees in the Vermont House and Senate are trying to think, how are we going to fill this gap? We don't want people to be uninsured. But always a strategist, my immediate thinking is, okay, one, this is great fodder to help persuade voters to vote Democrat in the midterms.
True.
Because all 435, I think it is, Congress people are going to have an election next year. And as we know in history, when there is the same party of a president and Congress often flips in the midterms. And we only have, I think, 4 vote difference at this moment in time between Democrats and Republicans. And we have a pretty unpopular Republican president. So I'm thinking great fodder. But I'm also thinking something else. And that is, I was surprised and chagrined in 2024 to see my more, bro-friendly friends leaning towards MAGA. And a lot of tech bros, went MAGA. And Elon Musk and all those guys went MAGA. And a lot of them gave as the reason, certainly among my friends, that they were worried about the fiscal crisis that was looming ahead. They were worried about our national debt. And the idea that this cockamamie plan has been approved and called big and beautiful, when in fact it is adding to our debt, it's like a catalyst to the fiscal crisis, is appalling. And more importantly, it is a moment where all of my bro friends across the country need to acknowledge they were duped.
Right.
President Trump sold them something he did not deliver. And in fact, he delivered the opposite. And the status quo would have been better than this. And to those people, I say, I'm sorry that happened to you. It sucks. But guess what? We need business-friendly Americans in the Democratic Party too. Welcome. You got duped. We're not going to trick you like that.
Right.
Welcome. We need the moderates in the Democratic Party. And there's no reason to stay with this. It's ridiculous what they're doing on the national level. Of course, I love our Republican friends in Vermont are great, but come on, get real on the national level. It is time to just say, wow, that was a wild ride. You're a Democrat now. Welcome.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got a pretty positive perspective on this, actually.
Maybe, but it's almost like I'm just on to the next thing. Like, okay, this happened. What does it mean? Yeah, I'm ready for the pivot. Yeah. I love that. Yes, that's exactly what's happened.
Okay, wow, you've somehow made me feel a little bit better about this whole thing. So thanks for that. I do have a burning question to ask, though. While we're on the topic of Trump, and, we got to talk about it a little bit. I'm so curious to know, how many times at this point have you sued the Trump administration?
I have sued as of today 21 times.
Yep. Wow.
Yes.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. Although it is not nearly as many times as we sued him in the first Trump administration, although we definitely did not sue him 21 times in 5 months.
Okay. How many, do you remember how many it was the first time?
I think it was 60.
Wow.
Roughly 62. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a huge number. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a very different quality of case. Last time, half the cases are about the environment. This time, the majority of the cases relate to the rule of law, restructuring the federal government, trying to expand power. I mean, it's almost like the details aren't important. It was really like the power grab, trying to test the boundaries of the power of the presidency.
Okay. So it's feeling very different to you at this
It's
point.
instead of a threat to the environment, it's like a threat to democracy.
Right. Terrifying.
I know.
Both ways terrifying, but a little bit different.
Yeah.
Different flavor of terrible.
Yep.
Okay, well, we could certainly spend a lot of time digging into each of those lawsuits, which we will not do. We don't have that kind of time.
I also am not ready for a pop quiz like this. Because now, in the beginning, there were 7 or 8 of them. I'm like, bring it. I can answer any question. And now, wow, there's just too
how
many.
do you keep up?
Yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully it's okay if I refer to 2 of them.
Okay.
And I also just want to fully acknowledge, like, I know there's only so much you can share and divulge with us,
Yes.
right? Like, these are ongoing legal cases. There's confidentiality involved. So just whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah.
But last month, I do want to mention that you filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration regarding action taken against the California Advanced Clean Cars and Advanced Clean Trucks rules. And that's something that Vermont has recently adopted.
Mm-hmm.
And so these policies set stricter emission standards than are required by the federal government, and also requires auto manufacturers to make clean, efficient cars available to the Vermont marketplace. That sounds great to me, but of course, the Trump administration is opposing that, and I guess I'm curious to know why you think that is, and why you think it's important that Vermont sticks to these rules.
I have wondered that myself. I don't know if this is the answer because I'm really spitballing, but I've almost wondered if it's like this fictitious before time that was so great that we want to go back to, or making America great again. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so it was great at some point. And during that time when there was a lot of misogyny, which apparently MAGA loves, and racism, also MAGA loves that. There was also a lot of fossil fuel and rampaging of the environment. And it was like this time where people didn't have to care about the consequences. And so I kind of wonder if it's like they're just trying so hard to get back to a different zeitgeist.
Yeah.
And our, reuse, recycle, reduce is not fitting in the narrative.
Right.
Our champion of LGBTQ rights and women's rights and the rights of all of us is not jibing with their vibe, and I've wondered if that's it. I think that there is a connection to voters who have been disenfranchised, not in their vote, but they have been impacted by the change in fortunes, if you will, in the fossil fuel world, whether it be, they're in coal country and things have changed there, whether it be consumers demanding a different kind of car or a different kind of heating device.
Right.
And it's made their lives harder. Instead of having their job and having their community be relying on an industry that relates to fossil fuel, suddenly they're just in a different time. And they don't want to be in this time. They want to be in a time when they were thriving and successful. And so instead of encouraging and leading in a world of adaptation of like, we're never going to go back there. We're here now. What can we do to make sure everybody is successful?
Yeah.
And that's what he should be focusing on. Instead, there's like this weird mythic. It's such a good question. I don't know.
Yeah. It makes sense though, what you're saying.
Okay, that's my spitball.
Yeah.
Probably greater minds will have better ideas, but that was mine.
But it's true. I feel like the whole like drill baby drill sentiment is really strong for a lot of people. That resonates for some reason. Not for us, of course, but I don't know. I think what you're saying does make sense, and
it doesn't make it just. And maybe we're like so. I'm gonna make a joke. Hope you get it. We're so green pilled because we're in Vermont. So it's like we want everything. What can be more important than preserving our environment? Look around. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful,
stunning.
And I always say this, but it's true across the spectrum. Conservative, Republican, MAGA friends to crazy liberal Prague friends. We all love the environment. Right. We're hunting. We're fishing. We're camping. We're skiing, whatever. We're outside just like chopping wood, like enjoying being outside. We're gardening. And so it's kind of a unifying value system, I think, here in Vermont. So maybe to us, it's like drill, baby, drill. Like I would never consider that. I would adapt before I would desecrate one of our national parks, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree. It's like this one thing that we all sort of have commonality.
Totally.
It's how beautiful it is to be here.
Yeah, and how much we like to be outside enjoying regardless of the weather.
Right. Yeah.
There's always some activity or thing that we want to do. I was laughing because I've been to a lot of rallies and protests in the past few months, and my friend had a friend who took a really cool picture that was like in black and white at a rally, and I came upon it because I put it on my LinkedIn page, and I came upon it, and I had like, it's literally snowing. I'm wearing snow pants, right? Like your attorney general is there with her speech with a hat on, and it was freezing. It was like 6 degrees, and I was literally wearing a Bailey Road blanket scarf. Like it was like wrapped around, and I was there in my sunglasses to protect the cold. Like if I'd worn goggles, like I probably would have tried to do that. I was literally wearing my dress snow pants. It's not even the first time I had to go to a rally in snow pants either.
Wow.
Because I had to go to a different, maybe the women's march or something. So yes, were we phased? No, there's tons of people there with their protest signs and their snow pants. Like you just get outside. So
I've never heard the term dress snow pants before, but I'm going to employ it.
I was in the pandemic. I kept joking about my dress snow pants because we had to do things outside, and so I was like, "Yeah, I have my dress snow pants. They're black."
That's so funny. Okay, I'm gonna get a pair.
Burton.
All right. So just one other Trump lawsuit I want to touch on, and then we can talk about some other things. So you did also recently file a lawsuit challenging the Trump administration's conditions requiring that states and state agencies cooperate with federal immigration enforcement as a grant condition for federal infrastructure funding. That's sort of a mouthful. All of that means that essentially if we don't do what Trump asks on the immigration enforcement front, then we will not be receiving federal support when we need it most. Really crappy. So your office followed suit with that lawsuit by releasing a Know Your Rights guide to better protect Vermont's immigrant communities. So thank you for that. Mm-hmm. And I guess I'm just curious if your office has faced any challenges associated with this recent immigration crackdown, and if you maybe anticipate further lawsuits in the future.
Trolls have commented rude things. Other than that, I don't think any people have been very positive.
Good.
You know, my office doesn't do immigration work.
Right.
I'm the Attorney General of a state, but we do have experts in constitutional law and different laws. And so, of course, we were going to, offer the expert to put together guidance, which we have both in English and Spanish. And I'm proud to offer that. And I think it's really, it was very well written, very easy to understand. But we haven't really received much negative feedback. I think, generally people in Vermont understand, like, we all have rights. And It doesn't matter who you are. You should know your rights and know if they're being violated. It's something that's sort of fundamental. Democracy is alive and well here in the great state of Vermont. And I think, people really honor our democracy. And so knowing your rights seems like a good thing for all of us to know. So really, I haven't received a lot of blowback from that.
That's great news, and I hope that stays the case for you.
Me too.
Okay, good. Some positivity there. I wasn't sure what we were going to get with that. All right, well, as I said, it's not going to just be about Trump. He gets enough airtime, so I'm going to pivot us just a little bit because I would really like to get your take on the Purdue Pharma and Sackler settlement. Mm-hmm. So I did see that Vermont could receive up to $21 million upon court approval for Purdue's and Sackler's role in creating and worsening the opioid crisis in this country. And so, after all of these years, do you still think that Vermont is feeling the impacts of the opioid crisis? Yes.
Definitely.
Okay. How do you think these funds could be used to address it then?
Well, first of all, let me say the Sackler family who owned Purdue Pharma, they were really like at the fulcrum of the crisis. But there were a lot of other entities who we also sued and have procured from funds from those lawsuits. And part of the process creates a kind of committee who meets and discusses and then proposes ideas for how the legislature should spend the opioid settlement funds. So I would defer to them. They're more expert than I. But I will say, as someone who, as part of my job, travels around the state trying to convince people to vote for me, I will say that honestly, and especially when I first started running in 2022, I was like very taken aback by daily, I would meet someone and their story was, my child died of an opioid overdose. And it was like I would step out to a community and I would say, okay, brace yourself, Charity, like try not to cry. Yeah. It's going to be a tough one. You don't know who you're going to encounter, but they're going to have a sad story and it's probably going to involve opioid addiction. Yeah. And it made me so mad. I don't know if you have either read a book, The Empire of Pain, or there's a really long New Yorker article. I didn't read the book, but I remember when the New Yorker article came out, I was like, oh, I will just read this. And I was like blown away The article is absolutely appalling and excellent. And I would also recommend the masterpiece Barbara Kingsolver's book, Demon Copperhead.
Okay.
So if you are interested in this topic, I would recommend those things. I want to make a note about the settlement, though, and say it's been kind of a windy road because there was Purdue Pharma filed for bankruptcy. But one of the things that I'm so thrilled with is in this settlement, we get our funds immediately. So we will get all those $21 million or whatever it is. We'll be getting that as soon as the case is over. So soon, not tomorrow, maybe not next month, but soon. And I'm really proud of that. And we'll have that money to be able to that's a lot of money. You imagine what the committee will come up with,
right.
But we'll be able to invest that to further, recover from the opioid crisis. So really pleased to be able to have had that come out and be immediate.
Yeah, that's huge. I feel like it doesn't usually happen.
No, it doesn't.
So quickly.
We were one of the only states who negotiated for that because I was like, I don't want the money in 19 years. I want it now.
Right. Yeah, we need it now.
Yeah, we need it now. And it's going to be helpful now. So I'm really excited. And like anyone who reads like a basic personal finance book anyway understands you want the money now,
right?
So you can invest. It's the same thing. We take the money now. We invest in our communities. We're going to see results sooner. So
right. Gosh, wow, that's such excellent news. Yeah. Thank you for your work on that.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Absolutely.
And just so you know, I want to share all of those recommendations that you alluded to, like the book and the article. We're going to make sure we get that in the chat.
Okay.
Eli, our co-producer, can help us out and make sure that happens.
Did you know that I serve on the board of the library in my town? And so I literally cannot stop recommending books, and it's actually kind of embarrassing where in my head I'm like, don't do it, don't do it.
Keep doing it.
Like it's a TikTok. Like what is that TikTok I'm thinking of?
Like book talkers?
No, there's like a
specific TikTok.
There's like a song that goes with it. Look how like not the don't be suspicious, but it's like one of those, and I'm just like, don't say it. And they're like, I'm only human. Like that one, right?
Yes.
That's me and my book suggestions. It's embarrassing.
No, I love it though.
Yeah, but seriously, read that book. That really is a masterpiece.
Okay, it's going to the top of my list, I swear. Yeah. Okay. That's so great. Okay. So pivoting again, once more.
Okay.
Like many others, I was so intrigued by the concept of 23andMe's genetic testing kits when they were first announced. Obviously, though, fast forwarding to today, 23andMe has gone bankrupt and is being sold to the highest bidder. So you have filed a lawsuit objecting to the sale of personal genetic information collected by 23andMe. I'm curious what the risks are associated with this type of sale and what, if anything, consumers can do to protect themselves.
Oh, God. This one I saw coming a million miles away. I really hesitate to say this, but there's another book I want to recommend.
Please do.
Okay, this kind of data, DNA, is called biometric data. It's data about ourselves we can't change, like our fingerprints, eye scans, stuff like that. And it's highly sensitive because we can't change it. And a whole story can be told just by looking at your DNA, right? Well, it's funny because before DNA testing was like a big thing, there was some sort of a program or an app or a company where you could use your fingerprint to buy groceries, basically. And someone who was involved in state government in Illinois was checking out this promotion hit him. And he was like, why would I give my fingerprint? And as he was walking out of the store, he was thinking to himself, what if they ever filed for bankruptcy? And that revelation is what instigated a whole very, I think, pretty swiftly passed law called the Biometric Information Privacy Act that protects things like DNA from this sort of outcome. And so I'm watching it and being like, yeah, I mean, you could see this coming a mile away. DNA, so disturbing. You can get so much from your DNA. We are very fortunate. We have the Vermont Consumer Protection Act that protects consumers in many, many ways. Unlike that very specific Biometric Information Protection Act, it's very broad. So proving your case might take longer. But it basically says you can't lie in the marketplace. And it's disturbing to me that in the bankruptcy, the way that a bankruptcy procedure might go is if they're saying that this DNA isn't ours, but belongs to them to sell to whomever they want, literally it's just going to go to whoever. We can't say, oh, please give it to like a nonprofit or something.
Yeah.
No, that's not how it works. So that is not what consumers signed up for when they signed up for 23andMe. So yeah, we have really specific advice for folks that is available on our website. You can go to ago.vermont.gov. I know we put like good slides kind of on Instagram.
Okay,
So if you
cool.
want to go to Insta, you can see that we have slides for like a checklist. I also sent that to like members of my family who I had wondered if they'd done 23andMe, and you can do that as well to protect your data. So that's the advice I have for you. And also, if this freaks you out, if this whole concept, you're like,
Yes.
OMG,
Yes.
please contact your legislator, contact your senator and representative here in Vermont and say, what are you doing about this? Because we have literally the first time that out of my mouth were the words, we should have a Biometric Information Privacy Act in testimony was in early 2020.
Wow.
And we still don't have a law in the books that specifically deals with the protection of our very, very private data. So I would urge you to get in touch. And the book recommendation I have is written by Kashmir Hill, and it's called Your Face Belongs to Us.
Oh.
And that's how I learned more about the Biometric Information Privacy Act in Illinois, but it's fascinating, and it's really focused on a company called Clearview AI, who I've sued, who has basically, I would say, face mapped. That's not the official title, but they basically mapped our faces for pretty much everybody on Earth. They have tens of billions of photographs in their database.
Oh my God.
They just scrape the internet for pictures. And it's not just like you put your profile picture on Facebook. It's you were eating a sandwich on Church Street and some tourist took a picture of the church and you're in the picture. And you didn't even know your picture was taken. And now your face is in this database and they're making money off of your face.
I'm going to freak out. That's crazy.
Yeah, don't have me on your podcast if you don't want to talk about data privacy and get freaked out.
Wow. I mean, it's so good to know, though.
Yeah.
But it's hard to hear. It's hard to absorb it.
Well, this is like the brave new world that we're in. And for people like VPIRG, people like elected officials like me, we have an opportunity to educate ourselves and start thinking about, well, how should we be advocating to shape policy?
Yeah.
Because we want to build the world we want to live in, and that's why I'm such a data privacy advocate, is because I want to live in a world where we all feel free. And if I'm getting surveilled every time I go anywhere, I don't feel free.
No.
That's not Vermont ethos. It's like right in the motto, right? Freedom, number one thing in the motto is freedom. And I'm all about that. So I don't like this invasion of our privacy to serve someone else's capitalist, gains. It's like, well, when am I getting a cut of your profits? Because my face is in your database or whatever.
100%.
Yeah.
And I just do want to lift up what you just said there, because I know I've been calling out a lot of lawsuits, and obviously it's not just going to court that you do. So I know personally you've worked so closely with VPIRG advocates, and you've been an advocate yourself for consumer protection, for public health. So it's just the work you do is so all-encompassing and so important, and I'm grateful for that. So I just want to lift that up.
Thank you very much.
Of course. And I know that we have gotten into a few heavy topics. There's been some levity, which I really appreciate. Thank you. But I definitely want to be sure that we end on some high notes. So I think this is actually a perfect moment for us to play a quick round of District Delights, which is your opportunity to talk about some of your local favorites.
Oh.
Yeah. Obviously, though, as a state elected, your district is the entire state of Vermont. So to that, I just say choose carefully.
Oh, wow. I have a lot of choices.
So many. So does that sound okay?
Okay. I buckled my seatbelt and I'm ready to go.
Okay, perfect. So this is District Delights with Attorney General Charity Clark. Okay. So, Attorney General, could you please tell me about a place to build or connect with community?
I'm going to say your local library. I love libraries. I love to read, but libraries do so many things. I will say, traveling around the state, they also make a great spot to I have an hour and I have nowhere to go. Why don't I catch up on some work at the library and check it out? A lot of the libraries in Vermont are historic and really cool to kind of just check out and get a tour of. Librarians work so hard, and there's always such a great place if you have kids. This summer we're going on a little vacation, and I've already looked up the events at the local library in case it rains. Cool. I'm like, well, let's go to the library and go to that cool thing. So
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Great recommendation. What about a unique stop on the campaign trail?
So I'm just really getting in touch with my hippie roots, but I go to the co-op, the food co-op, everywhere I go. Great. I gotta go to the food co-op. I also, unfortunately, happily, unhappily, have developed a food co-op tote bag problem.
Oh, no.
I own many. Everywhere I go, I'm like, this one's cute. There's an apple on it. And I was at the Middlebury Co-op. It's yellow. I'm like, oh, have to get this
Need
one.
it.
So I always, plus if you're in the co-op, you're like, I can't ask for a bag. I'm in the co-op.
It feels really bad.
So it's definitely, I have a lot and I have more to go because we have a new co-op in Vermont. I don't know if you're aware of this, but in the Northeast Kingdom, the Caledonia Co-op.
I did not know this.
Yes.
What?
I know, I haven't been yet, and I'm really excited, and I hope they have a tote bag for me.
Wait, where in the Northeast Kingdom?
I'm pretty sure it's in St. Jay. I follow them on Instagram and have for a long time. So, because I really love. I have a real. I'm making a joke about being a hippie, but I actually legit have a real hippie diet. So I love like having lunch at a co-op. I mean, I even have.
I love this.
I can't believe I'm making this full confession, but I literally will have business meetings at the co-op. I'm like, you want to get together for lunch? I know where we can go.
They have great seating areas.
Oh, actually, one time I had a friend, like childhood friend in town. She lives in New York now, and she's like, let's have lunch in Rutland. And I was like, meet me at the co-op. There's like 4 tables. There's like 2 tables with 4 seats, and they're like by the carts. That said, I would go back. I would love it.
So
I love
funny.
the Rutland Co-op. It's like you gotta have a spot in Rutland because it's like a real travel place. So I love the Rutland Co-op. They don't have a tote bag at the moment, but next time I'm there,
They need to
I
get
know.
one.
I need the full suite.
Right. Do you have a Hunger Mountain Co-op?
Do I have a Hunger Mountain
bag?
Co-op tote bag?
Yeah, you do. I do too.
Yes. It's very colorful and beautiful. Mine.
Yeah, like the rainbow apple.
Yeah. No, mine's got a whole community of people.
What?
It's beautiful. It is colorful. P.S.
I haven't seen that one.
Have you had the baklava?
No.
Just quit the
Get it.
podcast, get in your car, and go down
We're
right
getting
now. Like
baklava.
it's ridiculous. It is. I don't know how it's so good. There's Vermont honey in it, and I wondered if it's just the
Ooh.
magic of Vermont is in
It could be.
Highly recommend.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's also on my list.
Okay.
We're getting the baklava.
Yeah, you gotta get the baklava.
Okay.
If they don't have it, just complain, and they'll make it the next day.
And I'll say the Attorney General
There's demand.
specifically told me to come for the baklava.
So you're like, we love the baklava. It's got a reputation to uphold.
Okay, I'm doing it. All right. Could you tell me about a favorite Vermont day trip destination?
I gotta go with the State House.
Yeah.
It's a working museum.
It's a great one.
It's adorable, and like I used to work in the governor's office, and part of my job when I worked there was being in the State House all the time, being on top of my issues and talking with people. And I just like repeatedly would have moments where I would be, talking with a lobbyist or a representative, sitting in a like miniature velveteen settee from the 1800s, like that's only 3 inches off the floor, and you're just like snuggled up with a person because we're big now,
Right,
it's not like the 1800s, and just thinking this is comical that and like the velveteen drapes, they're great to muffle a secret conversation you need to have.
Oh, good to know.
The coat room is adorable. It's all the gossip happens in the coat room.
Mm-hmm.
And then the school children are so adorable. So uplifting to see them. All the portraits of governors. The Cedar Creek room is like majestic and beautiful.
Stunning.
Yes. Unfortunately, it's pretty much has a lot of pictures of people dying in war. But can I pitch you on my? Do we have time for me to pitch you on my idea? Okay.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for years. This is what I want. I want everyone to acknowledge that while all the men because the Cedar Creek room, which is beautiful, is an homage to Vermont's role in the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's a lot of Vermonters who are not acknowledged in the Cedar Creek room, and they're called women.
Right.
So while all of these men who are in the pictures and they're killing and they're dying and they have grand portraits of all of their sacrifices, and I honor that completely, there's nowhere a mention of like who was running the farm while all the men were at war. Who was dying in childbirth while half the country was at war? And I have this vision, stick with me, of
I'm
like,
with you fully.
what if we had an art exhibit that invited artists to portray like what was going on with women during the Civil War, and that exhibit just gently overlaid the work on top of the work that's there, just for like 2 weeks to remind everybody there's a story not being told about Vermont's role in the Civil War, and it's that.
I'm literally obsessed with this.
Okay, good.
I'm going to reach out to people. Like,
All
I'm not
right.
even kidding.
I
This
love
is a
it.
great idea.
Okay, thank you. I love it.
Wow. Okay. Such feminist commentary. I'm obsessed. Okay. All right. I'm so glad that we took that little pause there.
Okay.
We're going to make it happen. Okay. A place to enjoy Vermont's great outdoors.
The Vermont State Parks are awesome. They're so fun, so chill, so beautiful. There's such a variety of them. They're all over the state. And I've recently become aware of a state park passport you can buy for like $4.
Oh.
And it's a little booklet, and every state park has a stamp that you can get in your passport.
No way.
Yes, and I keep my passport like in the console. It's like there's $5 for tolls and my Vermont State Parks passport, which I eagerly, every time I go to a state park, I'm like, yes, I got another stamp in my passport. I know, I love it.
Wait, what a great idea, though, to get people excited about traveling to the parks.
I don't know if anyone is excited as I am. For some reason, even my kid is not as excited. I'm like, yeah, we got another stamp on our passport. She's like, oh my God, Mom.
How many do you have left? Do you know?
A lot.
Okay.
Yeah, but I got a lot of years left too.
That's true.
So.
Yeah, a lot of places to see.
I know, there's a lot of places. I'm lamenting that I wasn't gifted this as a child, so that
what the heck?
I couldn't have gotten started back then. I'd be
had a
all
late
done
start.
probably. Yeah, I had a late start exactly, but it is really fun.
I'm sure you're making good time. It's okay. I need to get myself one now.
You got to get one.
Okay, very cool. And finally, an underrated summer activity.
So many of this is a tricky question because I feel like there's so many activities that are not they're rated, but maybe just let's amplify it. So I'm going to say one that people are going to be like, you're cheating. That is not underrated, but I feel like it needs to be amplified. And that is going to the farmer's market.
Yes.
The farmer's market is where all the gossip takes place. And running for office too, I'd always want to swing by the farmer's market. But where I'm from in southern Vermont, the Dorset Farmers Market happens on Sunday mornings, and that is where the gossip is. Like, if you need to know what's going, it's like the town hitching post. Like, you have to go and be like, who's here? What's going on? You know? And I kind of feel like, even when I'm in Burlington, I feel like I always see people I know, and it's so fun. So, the Montpelier that is another wonderful farmers market.
Oh, yeah.
With food.
Excellent food.
Yes, it has really good food.
I had really good samosas last weekend there.
Yum. Yeah, it's great. And also, last time I was there was like a lemonade juice situation. Yes. So good. A hot day. So I really love the farmer's market. That will be my underrated thing that I would.
I think that's great. I don't think that's a cop out at all.
Okay, good.
So thank you. All right. Last question I have for you. It's because I feel like your job must keep you so much on your toes, and there's just got to be like some degree of stress involved, and I imagine every day cannot be easy. Mm-hmm. And so I really want to know how you are maintaining optimism that a better future and a better world is possible.
Well, one thing that I do is I meet with school children, and I always feel uplifted afterwards because I think this is the future of Vermont, and I have this visual that I always think of that we are kind of holding hands through time with the people who came before us and with the people who came after us. And I was once that little kid, who got to meet with Madeline Kunin, the governor of Vermont, and I looked up to her. And now I'm doing that role, and I want to do a good job of it. And every time I meet with school children, I'm always like, absolutely, this is it. It's going to be okay. And that's my favorite thing.
Okay. Well, I'm going to carry that with me. That feels really good.
Good.
And I think that's a perfect place to end.
All right.
So thank you so much, Attorney General. Really appreciate your time. This has been an awesome conversation. And good luck with all of the really important work you're doing.
Thank you so much. And thank you for all the work that you and VPIRG are doing.
Thank you so much. Take care.
All right. Bye.
And that's our episode. Our sincere gratitude to Attorney General Charity Clark for sitting down for a lively and timely conversation. If you'd like to learn more about the work of the Attorney General, visit the links in the description box below. Also, don't forget to get on VPIRG's mailing list, follow us on social media, and like, comment, share, subscribe, and rate us 5 stars. If you have questions or ideas for future episodes, reach out to me at jheiden@vpirg.org. That's JHEIDEN@VPIRG.org. Finally, a big shout out to my co-producer, Elijah Cushion. I'm Jordan Heinen, and you've been listening to Vermont's Voice. Take care and talk soon.